Alright, so this is the solving functions both graphically and algebraically. Now what is super important about this type of question is the graph is only here for a visual to give you an idea of what your answer should be. So I'm looking at this and I can see that it's going to be somewhere between, it looks like 2 and 3. I don't exactly know what it's going to be, so the algebraic aspect of it is going to show me what the answer is. So I have to solve. Now, this is an absolute value, so depending on how this line crosses it, there should be there could be two answers. I have to check for both, just in case I did my graph wrong. So, this becomes absolute value of x plus 2 equals 3x minus 6, minus 3. I'm going to move that negative 3 over, makes it positive, negative 6 plus 3. So I have a positive case, and I have a negative case. I have to do both, and then I'm going to check. This is very important. So it's going to be x plus 2 equals 3x subtract 3. This is negative 2x equals, move this over, negative 5. X equals 5 halves. So it looks like it's 2.5, and that's what it looks like on here. But just in case, again, I graph things wrong, I have to do the negative case just in case. So x plus 2 equals negative 3x plus 3. I can either change the signs here or change the signs here. It doesn't matter. 4x equals, I'm going to subtract this over 1, x equals 1/4. And then I have to check. Now, I don't care if necessarily you check on the calculator or if you do it in your head or you write it on here. You might want to at least write part of it on here so you can see what's happening, and then just do the rest in your calculator. So it becomes 5 halves plus 2, subtract 3, this is 15 halves minus 6, and we have, what would that be, 4, 9, the absolute value of 9 halves minus 3, so 15 halves minus 6 is 3 halves, and 9 halves minus 3 is 1.5. So my answer is correct. So that tells me that this one's right. Just to double check, I'm going to do this 1/4. So it's going to be 3 times 1/4 minus 6 equals 1/4 plus 2 minus 3. So 3 times 4 minus 6, or 3 times 1/4 minus 6 is negative 21/4. And then we have 1/4 plus 2. And then its absolute value of that, minus 3, is negative 3/4. So obviously not correct. So we only have the one answer on this one. So not right. And as the graph showed us, that makes sense. Okay, next one. Alright, so just going ahead and got this graphed. I have to graph both sides. So y equals 3, y equals 2 times the square root of x plus 6. Subtract 3. So it looks like the x value I care about is at x equals 3. So let's just solve this. Move this over. We have 2 times the square root of x plus 6 equals 6. Divide both sides by 2. Square both sides. X equals 3. That looks like it confirms with my graph. Again, this is the part we care about more than anything else. So let's check this really fast. That's going to be 3 plus 6. That's going to be 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. Minus 3 is 3. Boom. Alright, let me graph this next one. Okay, so this time we've got y equals 6, so the right side here. And then got y equals 5 over x plus 2 minus 4. So I moved it to the left 2, down 4, did the asymptotes, and then over 1 up 5, over 5 up 1, blah blah blah, etc. etc. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to cross, but I can see this arrow pointing up, so it is going to cross. I just need to figure out what that is mathematically. So let's move this over. It becomes 10. We're going to switch these basically. So it becomes 5 over 10 equals x plus 2. In case you're confused, over here that is 5 over, just 5 equals 10 times x plus 2. You can distribute 10 or you can divide both sides by 10, and then that gives you the 5 over 10 equals x plus 2. Move this over, so 5/10 minus 2, and that gives us x equals negative 1.5, and that looks like it's probably going to be, once it crosses up here, about 1.5. So that makes sense. We can do a quick check by putting it back in. It's a little bit tricky, so I'm going to do it as negative 3 over 2 plus 2 minus 4, hopefully equals 6. This is the check. So then we've got 5 divided by a half, which is 10 minus 4, which is 6. So that worked. And I believe that says done.